relax, close your eyes, and give yourself this opportunity to let go. Now is your time. Away from all of your obligations, everything that's going on out in the world, away from things that have to be done, need to be done, want to be done. Now is a moment just for you to do the healing work that you would like to do for yourself and to bring that healed state to others that could use the extra prayerful energy for their own healed state. And so start by following the breath into the body. And breathe down into the belly. And imagine that each breath emerges and flows back to the belly. And it's normal for the brain to generate thoughts. It will do that because that's what the brain does. So just thank it for doing the work that it needs to do for you. And then bring your focus back to the breath. Breathe. And when you're ready, imagine the base of your spine and allow the base of your spine to stretch down into the ground. You can do that directly, or imagine that you're growing roots that are reaching down into the ground. Or imagine that those roots are also growing out of the bottoms of your feet, reaching down into the ground. And you may imagine that you are a tree. And if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Would you be a conifer? A tall pine, a short pine, a cedar, a redwood? Would you be a fruit-bearing tree? An apple or mango, avocado, orange? Would you be a nut tree, like a walnut or an almond? Would you be just a tree that has beautiful blooms on it, like a hawthorn or a tulip tree? Would you be a tree that grows high up in the mountains? Or would you be like a palm tree that grows on a sandy beach? Do you like cold, brisk air? Do you like warm humidity? Would you like to be in a grove? Or would you like to be in a plantation where people come and pick your fruit? Connect in with that. The type of tree that you are tells a lot about the type of person that you are. And as you let your roots stretch down into the ground, how far do your roots stretch? Do they go down, or do they stretch out to the sides? Are they the kind of roots that connect with the roots of other trees? Or are they roots that are independent and reach down very, very deep? How do you receive nutrients? What kind of sunlight do you need? Allow yourself to be nourished now by the earth, the minerals, the fungi, the animals, the insects that take your pollen and disseminate it to other locations. What is your ideal environment like? How tall are you? Do you stretch as high as you can? Or do you prefer to stay closer to the ground? Do you prefer to have a barren trunk, or do you like to have children climbing you or people relaxing in your shade? Just notice. And where is your heart? Check in with your heart. Every tree has a central heart, a central core. When the tree needs to generate fruit or pollen, it draws up those liquids, those saps, to send out through the branches, out to the leaves, to create your fruit, to generate the pollen. What is your heartwood like? And as you breathe, what is your breath like as a tree? And are you the kind of tree that moves easily? Do you have a trunk that slightly bends, or are you more rigid? What happens when the wind blows? Do you feel that your leaves are rocked, your branches bending? Or do you feel very solid? If you have needles instead of leaves, or fronds, what is that like for you when the wind blows? And now here we are in spring. The winter is still very active on parts of the planet. For you as a tree, is the winter still active for you? Is it still very cold? Is there snow on the ground? Is there snow on your branches? Have your leaves fallen? Or are you like a pine on which the snow rests? Or are you in a tropical area where the seasons don't change that much, but the storms sometimes are very wild. Sometimes there are hurricanes. What is your winter like as you move into spring? And what is your expectation for spring? As your juices move through your heartwood, moving out of the ground and up through you, what are the expectations that you have for the spring? What are the expectations that you have for flowering and budding, generating pollen? If you are a species that needs male and female to connect, like an avocado, what is that like for you? And Are you getting ready to send out your pollen, or are you open to receiving pollen? Which are you? What is the spring going to hold for you this year? Where there'll be lots of rain? Will it be very moist and wet? Will it take a long time for the winter to thaw? What will it be like for you? Gathering your energy for the spring, what will that be like for you? Has it been cold for the last few months with very little sunshine? Is it going to be a time where you're going to reach toward the sky, soaking up as much sun as you can possibly get to stimulate the growth of leaves and flowers? What will that be like for you? If you are a barren tree throughout the winter, what is it like to push through the ends of your branches to generate new leaves? What does it feel like to be you? And as the spring progresses and moves into the summer months, what will that be like for you? Do you expect to have really hot days? Or are you on a high mountain peak by yourself, reaching up into the clouds? Maybe the rivers are being generated by the snow that's melting where you are. Maybe you can hear the trickle of small streams as the ice and snow melts. Maybe you're in a party location. Maybe lots of people are coming to visit. Maybe there's stereos or musicians, children running around, the sound of waves. Maybe you're in a quiet grove and you're just starting to generate some of the fruit that will mature as the summer moves along. What is it that you hope to have happen this summer? What will that be like for you? Are you looking forward to activity? Will people come visit you? Will people be in awe of your splendor? Beautiful flowers, fragrant. Maybe people will pick things from you, leaves or branches or flowers, petals. Maybe there'll even be insects that come visit you in the summer months. Maybe cicadas. Maybe the squirrels will be jumping around and the birds will be building nests. What will that be like for you? Maybe you're even in a location where monkeys will be climbing on you, pulling coconuts from you. What will that be like? Maybe you'll have a koala hanging from you. Maybe at the end of the summer, the bears will be climbing up and fetching nuts from the ends of your branches. And as the summer months move into the autumn, Now the kids have gone back to school. There aren't so many visitors. The evenings are starting to get cold again. Maybe you have an Indian summer, and October rolls around and it gets really warm once again. Maybe people are starting to pick your fruits. Maybe you're having glorious sunsets around you, and the clouds are starting to come in, silvery linings, beautiful pink sunsets out over the water or over a nearby mountain range. What is that like? And maybe now that the sap is starting to run in the opposite direction, going back down toward the ground, maybe you feel it's time to start to drop your leaves. Maybe it's time to prepare for the winter and to conserve your energy. And so your beautiful leaves of green start to turn amber, maybe red, and fall to the ground, creating big blankets of leaves beneath you that people come and play in. Maybe the rains are coming back, and the storms, the cold winds starting to return. Maybe you're in a location where people are gathering to watch the beautiful sunsets. And the fruits have gone away, and you've become more barren. Maybe it's a relief to not have to do anything. It's a time to go dormant once again, be more quiet, introspective, as the autumn merges into winter. Once again, it gets colder. Maybe you're in a location where it begins to snow. Light snow at first, maybe a little bit of frost. Maybe the rains are very heavy, but it's a welcome after the long, hot summer and the fall. The ground is starting to soak up and be saturated with the falling rain. Maybe there's even lightning storms. Maybe you're invigorated by the lightning striking the ground, feeling that electrical charge. Maybe the snow begins again. If you're a pine tree up at the higher elevations, maybe once again the snow is collecting on your branches and weighing them down. Feels like you're bending. Maybe sometimes it feels like you have to be stronger, more sturdy. You have to hold your ground, to not let the weight of the heavy snow crack and break you. Maybe those big hurricanes have come in, and maybe the winter is a relief, so that you don't have to keep trying to withstand all of that pressure that comes from that spiraling storm that you have to learn to withstand. Maybe the winter is a time of peace, of quietude, where there's nothing that you have to do. And all this happens, and interestingly, you haven't gone anywhere. You've been right here all year long, in this one place. And it feels like there has been stillness, and yet the world has continued to move around you. What is that like? Watching the world continually moving, everything continually changing, because truly never is nothing happening. And so you consider, what is it that I may have wanted to create, to generate, that I might have stood in my own way? Or if I have been in the way of something else that wanted to move and change, have I been preventing that? Just notice as you reflect upon your own life. You may even consider, have I been holding on to something that it is time to let go? Have I been holding on to a belief that it would serve me to no longer believe? Have I been holding on to a tradition that has prevented me from taking on a new tradition? Have I been holding on to a thought about something that is not really useful? Those things are all moving. Let them move with the seasons. Imagine now that you as a tree can pick up your roots and you can transform into a small being. It might be human, it might be an elf or a fairy. And if you could go for a little walk through the area where that tree was once growing, a nice little walk, and you can feel your feet on the ground with each step that you take. You drop the heel of your foot and then roll onto the ball of your foot, and then finally your toes. Each step you take is slow and methodical and deliberate, walking heel to toe through the environment where you once were a tree, and now you are a different being that has feet, that can walk, that can change direction, that can move, has freedom. And you walk through an area that starts to turn red. Might be a dark red, burgundy, maroon. And you think, this is interesting. Everything is turning color. And then the objects around you start to turn white, like pieces of paper. As if buildings were suddenly no longer three-dimensional objects, but flat black and white objects. As if they were made out of construction paper, drawn with a black felt tip pen. Everything becomes very flat. And as you walk through this area, whether that's with buildings or trees or plants or rocks, you come upon an archway, and you walk through that archway. And when you reach the other side, you find a mirror. And as you look at yourself in that mirror, you realize that you're a small child. You see yourself as you probably were around 5 years old. And you may have an image that comes to mind, seeing yourself at 5 years old. What was it that you looked like as you look at yourself in the mirror? What might you be wearing at 5 years old? You look at the color of your eyes, how your hair looks, who gave you that terrible haircut. And you notice, what does your demeanor look like Are you happy, sad, irritated, frustrated? Just notice. And as you observe yourself in the mirror, you realize, oh, suddenly you're about 10 to 12 years old. And you remember what you looked like in that particular school picture in the album that you got when you were in that grade. And again, you have that weird haircut, but your hair's changed a little bit, and you look older, and you notice, oh yeah, I'm actually a kid. You notice what you're wearing. And again, what is your demeanor like? Are you happy, sad, angry, frustrated, delighted? Do you hate having your picture taken? Just notice. And then you grow a little bit older. Right there in front of yourself, you're a teenager, maybe in high school, maybe a senior. Your picture's better this time. You see yourself differently because now you have a nice haircut. You're really concerned about how you look now. And so you're always trying to look your best. What was it, that fad that you were into back around that time, that's showing up in your clothing or your hairstyle? And just notice, what is your demeanor like? Happy, sad, fearful, delighted, joyous? Just notice. And again, you mature, and you're in your mid-20s to late 20s. You're at that time of life, actually, where something about life is teaching you about something. It's a little frustrating, actually. You feel like you're supposed to know something, but you're not exactly sure what it is you're supposed to know. And you feel like life is serving it to you on a platter. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes you're questioning, do I like this? Is this really where I want to be? Just notice. What is your hairstyle like? What are you wearing? How are you feeling about this time of your life? Mid to late 20s. And then you're in your 30s. And just go with me. If you are actually not in your mid-30s yet, that's okay. You might even see yourself projected into the future how you would like to see yourself. And if you've already been in your 30s, remember what it was like for you. What was going on?